Yo guys, today we're diving into one of the most hyped characters that are coming to Bleach Rebirth of Souls. The leader of the Royal Guard himself, Ichibe Hyosube. If Tampsoft really does him right, his kit is going to look nothing like anyone else in the game. Let's break down his special condition, archetype, and potential moveset. So first off, Ichibe's whole kit is built around his ink gauge. Every hit he lands fills that gauge, and over time it naturally drains until it reaches 0. Now, what makes this unique is that the gauge isn't removed by aggression. It means you can't just smack Ichibe to make it go away. It's strictly time-based, so the only way is to let it reset and wait it out. You'll have to avoid his attacks. You'll have to make sure that you are having the edge on Ichibe. Now, as far as his archetype goes, Ichibe starts off as an area control type character in his base form, spreading ink and controlling the space. He'll want to keep you away until he's able to fill in the gauge, then come in and really just, seal the deal. He'll have more so those phantasmal, astral appendages attacking you in certain moves, and I feel that when he goes into his awakening, he'll be much more of a rushdown character, where he's actively pressuring you while building that ink meter even faster. Basically, he's going to go from zoning you to running you down. Let's talk about his actual moves. His signature move is Ink Splash, a wide frontal slash that builds ink into the gauge. It's not super damaging by itself, but here's a twist. Once you activate Pressure Move 1, Squash the Ant, it scales higher, doing 1.5 times the amount of damage, and if the ink gauge is full, it does twice the amount of damage. Spiritual Pressure Technique 1 is literally that Squash the Ant. Ichibe summons the massive astral hand and slams the opponent. Extra damage if the ink gauge is active, straightforward but devastating. With your Spiritual Pressure Technique 2, You Spoke My Name. This is where things get dirty. If he anticipates you, it's a counterattack, but not only does it deal damage, it also gives you a full ink gauge. Imagine fighting with only half of your strength for the rest of that sequence. That would be Ichibe flexing his lore and his power over words and names right into the gameplay. Now, in Awakening, Ichibe doesn't just get stronger, he makes you weaker. The ink gauge fills faster, and his ink splash becomes stronger and slightly faster to account for the negative frames that he gets in his initial base form. But the real game changer here is that in his sublimation, his Spiritual Pressure Technique 2 becomes Shirafude Ichimonji, so it becomes his Bankai. One of the reasons for this is that you have to understand, when you look at the fight between Ichibe and Yhwach, he rarely uses Bankai, and even after using his Bankai, he went back to using his Shikai abilities that were much more enhanced in his Bankai state, meaning it doesn't just become one or the other, it becomes both. So it makes much more sense that he continues his normal attack pattern, but he now has the added advantage of Shirafune Ichimonji. Now with his Spiritual Pressure Technique 2, this is one that is also a counter, but here's where things get crazy. It directly reduces your Kikon moves, meaning that if you were originally going to take 5 souls, you are now only going to take 2. It gives you a seal, and where it limits you, reducing your power to the power of an ant. And therefore, no matter what character it is, it will seal it by 3. And in most cases, what this means is that you're not going to be able to do a 2-touch situation. Once you've successfully used a Kikon move, the seal is released and you're able to go back to your normal state, giving you a chance to come back from that initial seal. That's a kind of oppressive design that makes Ichibe terrifying in Awakening. You're going to want to shut him down as quick as possible before he gets to sublimation, because then he might just make your game plan that much harder. Speaking of Kikons, his set is stacked with the secret Hado technique coming in for the first move, destroying 3 Kompaku. His Squash the Ant hand slap technique would destroy 4, and with his big one, Black Mausoleum, it would destroy 6 Kompaku, so he could actually do a 2-touch situation. So the big thing here is that you're going to want to avoid his attacks so that way he can't feel his ink gauge, so he doesn't weaken you, so he doesn't put you into a disadvantaged state. Because if he does, you might not be able to recover fast enough before he can destroy your Kompaku. Crazy design. So let's just recap what his strengths and weaknesses are so you can understand. With his strengths, Ichibe is an oppressive debuff monster. He weakens his enemy's attack power, shuts down key cones, and flips between control and rushdown depending on his state. His ink gauge makes him consistently threatening. But the weakness? He's not fast. His base attacks are slower than captains like Soifon and characters like Yoruichi. And if he whiffs, you can punish hard. He also needs time to build up ink gauge. If you shut down his attack early, you can stop him before he snowballs. So that's my full prediction of Ichibe Hyosube as a DLC character in Bleach Rebirth of Souls. If Tamsoft decides to bring in his ink gauge, his debuffs, and his Shirafune Ichimonji seal, he's going to be one of the most unique characters and the most oppressive in the roster, while still being completely different from the rest. Would you main Ichibe if he dropped like this? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and as always, like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss out on more breakdowns. And Ichibe shows up, this game is going to get insane. This has been your boy Saint, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Run that shit back!